is a very expensive, very inefficient, riven with political interest type of system. We have 33 different PECs for a population of 5 million, and you know, if you look at over in Glasgow, the Strathclyde, you have one educational authority, I think, covering 12.5, 13 million. I mean, it is, so for political purposes, they're tinkering with this, and they have done a deal with the Catholic Church of the Community National School model, and that is that they have obliged the Community National School model as a state school. Now think about this, as a state school to deliver faith formation classes within the compulsory school day. Now, who was the girl who's, sorry? Michelle, sorry. Michelle's talked about the Equal Status Acts. Now, the prohibition on religious discrimination actually is at a much deeper level than the Equal Status Acts or the equality employment legislation. It's in the Constitution, so it can only be changed by referendum. So that here we have the state has moved into a situation, if it wasn't so sad it would be very funny, but so they've moved and they've set up 2 schools in Dublin 15, in which in actual fact there's only about 16% of Catholic parents, and there's a huge diversity. But so it has the classroom teachers, with the authority of the classroom teacher teaching the Catholic program. And it doesn't realise that any single parent in that school of a different religious view can demand, quite rightly, equal status. So suddenly it's going to walk itself into a situation in which every single religious viewpoint will be able to demand a fully qualified classroom teacher to deliver the particular religious viewpoint. That's just the reality of it. But they've also moved into a situation at the age of 4, they are dividing 4-year-old children into Catholics, other Christians, Muslims, and the rest. Now, this is the state doing it. There's no exemption for the state under our equal state. There's exemption for religious, and in actual fact, it's a very qualified religious, exemption for religious schools in our equal status legislation. Now, what is the social consequence at the age of 4 in fossilizing difference on religious grounds? No child picks their own. No child picks or chooses the religious identity of their parents, and yet this state is moving into a situation where it is it believes in rolling out this new system in which the religious difference or faith identity difference is going to be entrenched from the age of 4. No serious primary educator believes that that is the correct thing to do with 4 to 6-year-old children. It may be something which could be considered when you're talking about 13 or 14-year-old children, but in the primary school environment, it is universally recognized as negative. And to give the religious educators their view in Ireland, no Catholic or Protestant school would even consider doing this. And it's only in the traditional Irish religious school, a parent has the right to absent themselves or absent their child from that. But it's not driven by this division is not driven by the school. So that's what the political pressure seems to be on. There's going to be a big debate in the next few months. The enabling legislation for this new type of school is going through the door, we're told, in the next month or 2. I would appeal for you to speak out and through your organisations on it. It is a potential disaster for the future of the country. I personally don't think the government will be able to roll it out because the VEC system is so expensive. We can open schools on an average of 500,000 euros cheaper than a VEC can open the school. So it may just come down to economics. But it's very fluid. The political situation is very, very fluid at the moment. So I've gone on a bit longer than that.
One quick question. The slide mentioned. Are they available online?
I'll make them available.
Okay. What would be search for just under Educate Together?
You're talking about an ontological change at second level. Are you talking about a comprehensive education or maintaining the gap between a liberal education and a vocational?
Okay.
I'm talking about the curriculum in relation to practical subjects, vocational subjects, and what would be regarded as standard academic subjects.
All right. So, no, I mean, in that, I think philosophically we don't see the distinction. We don't believe, I mean, we certainly don't believe that, for example, to be a good engineer, you can't be, you cannot be both theoretical and practical at the same time. And certainly, if you go back in terms of the history of Irish education, the vocational schools, I mean, this was a class-ridden system. The vocational schools were prevented from teaching Latin because Latin was the subject which was the access button for the professions, and our entire system is built around a system which second-level education was reserved for those who could pay for it, or those few who would win a scholarship. And although we have had universal second-level education, the culture of that division still remains. Now, in terms of what we're trying to do at second level, it's been, by all means have a look at the blueprint in some detail, but paraphrasing and oversimplifying it, we're not going to offer the junior cert. So we're going to effectively, again, oversimplifying it, you could either think of it in terms of extending the methodology of the national school for 3 years through the junior cycle of second-level school, or else pulling back the methodology of the transition, a really good transition year, back for 3 years. We would cover exactly the same curriculum, exactly the same syllabi, cover exactly the same content. It's all about how we deliver how this content should be delivered. But in 1967, we used to have a thing called the primary certificate, which was the exit exam which all primary school children had to take at 6 class, because there wasn't universal second level education. Nowadays, we're getting very close to universal senior cycle experience in our second level schools. So the value of this rote learning public exam of junior certificate has really become virtually irrelevant. Now, when I said we weren't going to offer it, our view is that any child who really wants to do it, they will be able to do it. But it's not going to be it is not going to dominate the entire junior cycle of the second level school. Now, the thinking behind this is that if we're talking about junior cycle of second level school, we're talking about the phase of human development of a child in which the maximum synaptic development. This is the period of time when there is maximum emotional turmoil, formation of identity, the challenge. All of you've gone through it. You know, what we call teenagerhood in the Western world. That's exactly at that period where children need the holistic approach. They need the expert teachers who are expert in development and psychology, who are qualified to deliver the same content in a differentiated way, different learning styles. But what's the actual experience in the Irish second level system? Because of the pressure of points, the best teachers tend to work at senior cycle, and the least qualified teachers tend to work, or the newest teachers tend to work in the junior cycle. So we actually have a system in which we get the least professional input at the time of maximum personal need for a young person. And we think certainly that this is not, the fact that this is also the stage in which we have significant trends of alienation, significant trends towards mental illness, significant trends leading to suicide. We have an epidemic of these presently. 15, in the last year, for the first time ever, 15 primary school children took their lives in Ireland. Right? This isn't something which we can just... one of them was in one of our schools. It was absolutely horrific experience. But this is what is actually happening.